Hi there, it's Carol with Carol B Crafts. Today we'll be doing card number 2 in my Rooted in Nature Class B online class. The Class A and Class B kits for the Rooted in Nature classes will be available through August 31st, 2018. And you can get the details on how you can get the kits to participate in these videos on my website www.carolbcrafts.com. Each card kit contains the materials you need to make the 4 cards in the Class B kit, and you can get your kit absolutely free as a gift from me to thank you for your purchase when you make a purchase of $35 retail or more at stampinup.com using my current host code on that website www.carolbcrafts.com. Let's take a look and see what all we have in our kit today. Everything in the online classes comes pre-cut and pre-scored for you, except for the things that you cut with the dies that come with the bundle. The bundle that we're using is the Rooted in Nature bundle. It has 2 packs of stamps and lots of beautiful dies that go with it. And today we'll be using this stamp, and we'll be using the Thinking of You stamp. So we'll go ahead and get those out. Thinking of You and the 3 leaves. Oh, and we will be using, just about to forget, we're going to be using this little leaf sprig stamp as well. So those are the 3 stamps that we'll be using. And you can use another stamp depending on what you want to put on the inside. I have left mine blank because I'm not sure what I'm going to be using this card for. Thinking of You. It might be a sentiment card for get well or sympathy or just encouragement, birthday. But one thing I did want to point out is this label here that comes pre-cut for you. It actually comes with the foliage framelets dies. Now the foliage framelets dies is, I think, a companion to the Rooted in Nature dies. And it comes as a bundle with this beautiful stamp set here called Floral Frames. So this would be the Floral Frames bundle, which is in the new catalog. So if you're going to get the Rooted in Nature, I would suggest that you get the Floral Frames bundle, because look at all these elements. I used these leaves in the first class card and then I used this label here today, and then there's this element here and more leaves to go to kind of mix and match with those leaves that are in the Rooted in Nature. So I think this is a great companion for the Rooted in Nature bundle. So we have our stamps, and then the ink that we'll be using is going to be the Blackberry Bliss, which I think is a beautiful color. It's a returning color to Stampin' Up. In our kit we have the just a thick whisper white card base, and we have some pieces that will be used to cut out our leaves. This is Grapefruit Grove. It's 2 1/4 by 5 1/2. These are both 2 1/4 by 5 1/2. No, 2 1/8 by 5 1/2. 2 1/8 by 5 1/2. So this is going to be for our leaves here. And then the Whisper White is going to be for our little sprigs of leaves there. Then these are ovals cut with the Layering Ovals Framelets dies. Let me find out which ones those are. I don't think I wrote it on the back. Okay, so let's see. This is our Layering Ovals Framelets dies. So it looks like it's the 2nd largest scalloped oval and the 3rd largest oval die in the set. Okay, so that's what's going to go here for our, and then I showed you the label from the foliage framelets. That is our label. I give you 2. It's going to go on front of our Grapefruit Grove oval, and you only need the one. Our DSP is from Nature's Poem DSP, and I can't believe I didn't put the okay, so we have 4 by 5 1/4, 4 by 5 1/4, and that's a pretty leaf design with the Grapefruit Grove and the Blackberry Bliss leaves. Then we have a piece of the reverse of that, which just has the Blackberry Bliss, and it is actually needs to be cut to size. That should be 1 by 5 1/4. Let me cut that. Hopefully the one in your kit will be cut to size. I'm hoping so. I think so. Okay, so we have 1 by 5 1/4, and then the last piece is the reverse of the leaf pattern with the mint macaron, and I'm not sure what color that is, but this is the pattern here, and you want to cut it so that it's going, the stripes are going horizontal, and it is 3/4 by 5 1/4. So basically this is going to go behind here with a little more than an 1/8 showing, but not quite 1/4. So that's going to go there, and then this is going to go here on front of our DSP. Inside, what do we have inside our envelope? That's where I always put the goodies. So we have a piece of the Nature's, what's it called? Nature's Twine. It comes, there's 20 yards, and it comes in 4 colors, so 5 yards per roll of color. So we have a piece of the Grapefruit Grove that is 8 inches, and then we have one of the little Grapefruit Grove pearls from the Share What You Love Artisan Pearls. Just one of them. So we'll put some of these aside because we don't need them. We'll be doing our stamping first. For our stamping, the inside sentiment, we have 4 1/4 by 3 1/2, and it'll actually be portrait, so it'll be 3 1/2 by 4 1/4, and then the sentiment's going to go on a piece of Whisper White that is 3 1/4 by 4. So we'll keep our Whisper White out because we're going to be doing our stamping on that, and we'll put other things aside. So for our stamping, I'm going to use the new Stamparatus, which is a really cool stamping positioner tool. And if you have a stamping positioner tool, or if you have, you could use your Stamp-A-Majig too if that's all you have, but it's actually better to use one of the hinged positioners for this particular one because it's such a tight fit to get that thinking of you in there. So let me show you what I have. Let me put my, I like to put my stamp case underneath here to kind of give it some support when I do my inking. I have the 2 bars that come with the Stamp-A-Majig, and I've wrapped them in packing tape just to keep them together and to provide this little tab to hold on to them with. And I have a piece of clear plastic, our window sheets that we sell, and I have a 4 by 6 piece of window sheet, and I pushed up the edge corner here so that I can pick it up easily. And then I have found when I use the Stamparatus, I need to have a shim, something to raise up the surface to get, so that I don't have to push so hard to get a good image. And I have made this little handy dandy shim here. It is magnetic, adhesive magnetic on the back. It's a piece of thicker chipboard, and then I've laminated some of the grid paper that we sell. So this is a pretty handy dandy little shim. If you don't have that, which everyone that purchases a Stamparatus through me as their demonstrator, I send them one of these as a gift, a thank you gift. So you might want to consider that if you are looking to purchase a Stamparatus. If you don't have one of these little handy dandy things, you could use a piece of thick chipboard, or something that most of us have on hand is the thin die adapter that goes to our Big Shot. It's about the same thickness as the shim that I made. You could either put it this way or this way, depending on which you feel more comfortable with. But I'm going to use my little shim since I have it. So how do we do this? Now, if you are familiar with the Stamp-A-Majig, you normally would make an image on the plastic, and then you would put your paper that you're going to stamp on under the plastic and position your stamp. Well, we're going to do the reverse. We're going to stamp and then position our paper. So we'll put our piece of 4x6 clear plastic window sheet there and put it down. Keep it handy with our magnet. Now this is in the corner. Make sure everything is in the corner. And then we're going to get our stamp, which is thinking of you. I'm going to make sure that we have it in the right direction, and we're going to put it down here about 1/4 of an inch from the edge of the clear plastic that we have, the window sheet. And we're going to pick up our stamp, and I guess before we ink we should do the other part. I have a 1/4 sheet of the grid paper. I just use my, what's left over. Now I'm going to put on the back, you can kind of tell where the back is because there's a little red rim around the back. I'm going to put a tiny bit of adhesive on each side. Not very much, like 1/4 of an inch. And I'm going to just put this here, put it down on the paper. Now that's going to kind of help hold that in place. So now this is ready to slide underneath here. I probably should have put it closer to the edge. Maybe I can go ahead and move it. Let's see if it will let me. There, that way I won't have to push it so far up in there. So yeah, so that will work good. Alright, so we have our stamp in place. It's about 1/4 of an inch from the bottom edge of the plastic. Everything is in the corner here, and we're going to get our Blackberry Bliss ink. And I have to remember to do this like a compact. I'm still learning. I still want to slide it back. I had a little piece of fuzz on my ink pad. I had to get it off. Okay, so going to ink up our Thinking of You with our beautiful Blackberry Bliss. It doesn't have to be perfect because we're just going to put the image on the plastic. Now it is a tight fit, but we can slide this underneath here and pretty much see where we want it. And then when we know where we want it, we'll bring in our other magnet. And it does take a little bit to get it, where you like it. Okay, I think that's good. So now I can lift this up. Well, I think my plastic slid. Let me get this back over here. Okay, I think that's good. Now we'll just put that there, ink up our image again. Just want to make sure you keep those two together separate, because they love each other and they love to bang together. Alright, so we're going to stamp our image, and if we don't get a good image the first time, we can come back in. Now I can see that mine is a little off. It should be lower. So I'm going to do a different one. I'm going to do another one. So I'm not sure why that was off. So I'm going to just do a little test here. Put my sheeting in the corner to make sure that my sheeting didn't slide on me. If it didn't slide, then I won't get a double image. Okay, I got a little bit of double image, which tells me my sheeting must have slid. So I'm going to have to redo that again. This time making my sheeting, making sure my sheet doesn't slide. Drying it off with one of those microfiber things you get with your glasses. Okay, so I'm making sure it's in the corner nice and tight. I'm going to ink it up just a little bit. It doesn't have to be a lot. And make that image again. Okay, now try this again. I'll get my other label. That's why I give you two. So you can see it's very important to make sure that your plastic stays in the corner when you're lining it up. Okay, so that looks pretty good there. Bring my, well, it's very hard to, I wonder why it is sliding. Okay. Move this. Okay, so when I have it perfect, I'm going to go ahead and put that in place, and hopefully this time it will be it will work. Of course, when I'm on camera, everything is always harder than it has to be. All right, well, let's see how this turns out. That's much better. I think I might do just one more light coat, not quite a whole coat, and just lightly push down so it kind of fills in some of those places that maybe didn't get it the first go around. Okay, that looks pretty good. So the next stamping we need to do is our leaves. So I'll clean this off. So stamping our leaves is going to be a little bit easier. So we'll start with our Grapefruit Grove, and we'll just put our handy dandy magnet down there to hold that in place, and we'll put one here to hold this one in place, and we're going to pick up our stamp. Now we need Grapefruit Grove. I may have said we only needed Blackberry Bliss, but we do need Grapefruit Grove. So get your Grapefruit Grove out. Oh gee, I'm not perfect. I never claim to be, so that's fine. Now we're going to ink up our image here. I guess I should put my Blackberry Bliss away so it doesn't dry out. So we'll stamp our first image, and if we're happy with it, we'll move on. If not, I think I'm going to make it a little bit darker. You can decide if you want it darker or lighter. Okay, so we need to stamp two of these. So that's our first one. And if you mess up, there's always the back. So now we're going to move this up to where we can stamp another one. And let me get my ink. And one more just for good measure. Although that's a good image, I just like it darker. Okay, so we'll clean off this stamp. And now we're going to do the white, and we're going to do the little leaf sprig with that. So we'll just kind of turn it that way and pick it up with our flap. Now we need the Blackberry Bliss. Okay, so get our Blackberry Bliss out, ink that up. And I know that I'm going to need a couple, at least, times to stamp that down and get a nice rich image. Okay, I think that's good enough. So now we are ready to do our die cutting. Okay, before we do your die cutting, if you wanted to stamp an image on your sentiment, inside sentiment, I didn't stamp that. But if you wanted to choose a sentiment, thinking of you and whatever sentiment you're going to put on the inside, the stamp set has a couple. Thinking of you, you are wonderful, thinking of you, to thank you for all you do. But that's where the companion stamp set comes in, because you could say thinking of you, sending love, thinking of you, wishing you the best. But I'm sure that you have plenty of stamps at home that you could use to decide what you want to do with the inside. So we'll get on with our die cutting. And this die set has some unique dies in it. The 3-leaf die, there's actually a die and then a 3-leaf embossing die. And the embossing die doesn't cut, it just puts like a texture on your leaf. So we're going to emboss first, and I'm going to use, you can use washi tape, I'm going to use Scotch Magic tape. I kind of swear by that, and it looks like I'm at the end of my roll here. I'm just going to cover that up with my die and run it through the Big Shot. Okay, so I have my Big Shot. Now the sandwich that you're going to use when you use the embossing dies is the same as you use when you use the cutting dies. You put your thin adapter on top, then a clear acrylic plate, your die facing down. I don't think it matters whether it faces down or up. And then you're just going to push it through the Big Shot like this. And that will put a nice little texture on your cardstock. Now you're going to want to cut it. So we could probably use that same piece of tape and save some tape. Do the same thing. Put your cutting plate on the bottom, the one that has all the scars on it, and get your framelit, and then you're just going to frame your leaf like you normally would. You just want to make sure that none of the tape is over the part that you want to keep. And then we're just going to put our other plate on top. I think this is it. I'm getting confused. Okay, so we have our thin adapter, our cutting plate, pad, acrylic, and then our other acrylic. And then we're going to run that through. And now we have our textured leaf to go here. So we're just going to do that again with the other one. Okay, so now we have two that have the embossing to it, and we've cut them with our die. Now we're going to cut our little sprig of leaves. And we'll use this die, this little sprig die, to do that. This one doesn't need to be embossed, so we're just going to cut it. And we'll use the same, our usual cutting sandwich in between two acrylic plates. So let me go cut this. Okay, so now we have our die cuts. And be sure to not throw your dies away when you throw your scraps away. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start building our card. We'll get our thinking of you off, and I find it's best to just kind of twist that off. Okay, so we have that. So let's bring in our other stuff that we have. I guess we'll go ahead and put our thinking of you on our grapefruit grove. Get some snail to do that. And I like to use a little piece of waxy strip to help me maneuver, especially when I have something that is this tight of a fit. You just want each one of those corners to be touching the edge of your oval. There we go. And then this one is going to go on top of the Blackberry Bliss. Okay, we're going to put that on with some mini dimensionals. I believe that's mini. Actually, yeah, mini dimensionals. And so we'll put those on, and then so this is the inside for the inside sentiment, so that we'll put that aside for now. Let's go ahead and build our card front. So find the valley that's facing you and fold your card away. Make sure the edges match up before you burnish it with crease it with your bone folder. Sometimes they don't match up, so you kind of have to give them a little help. This one matches up, so it's a good day. And before we put this on, we'll go ahead and build this. The side that this is going to go on, remember we want not a quarter, but just kind of between a quarter and an eighth. So we're going to take some snail along the side that's going to be, and then we're just going to match that up and try to do it without messing up. It's kind of hard to do when you've got such a long piece. So however you find a good way to do it, I guess I'll match it up on one end and then work my way up towards the other end like that. And then if you have any hangover like I do, you can take your snips and just cut it like that. Okay, now this is going to go on your left edge of your paper, and it's going to match the edges perfectly. So we'll put some snail on it. I like to put some here too. And remember the little, I don't know what color that is. Is that crushed, not crushed curry? I don't know. We'll find out. Match it on the ends, and then just work your way up to the top. Now this is ready to go on the card front. Make sure it opens the right way. Alrighty, let's see. Now we're going to put this on, and I'm looking to see where it is. It looks like it's about a little more than a half an inch from the bottom and about a half an inch from the edge, the edge of the Whisper White. So we'll put our mini dimensionals on there. Wait a minute, am I wrong? Yeah, we're not using mini, we're using the regular dimensionals. Oh well, goodness. Sorry. Alright, the big dimensionals, the regular dimensionals, and I'll probably go a little crazy here. Now you want to make sure you leave room to tuck some things in here at the top. I'll be tucking our leaves in, so be sure you kind of leave some room for the leaves. So I'll put one there. Down at the bottom it doesn't matter because you don't have the leaf thing there. Alright, I think that's enough. Alright, let me take these backings off. Okay, so make sure we have it in the right area. I guess it's kind of just where you think you like it, mostly. Does that look about right? Yeah, that looks about right. Make sure it's straight before I push it down. Yeah, it looks straight enough. Okay, now the other part is pretty easy. It's the simple part. We're just going to use some glue dots to stick those in. Oops, it looks like I might have a... Yep, I have one of those in my way. I'm going to have to remove it. Darn it. Easy enough to remove though. Get my handy dandy piercing tool and go in there and get it. And just bring it right out like that. So if that happens to you, I'm going to save it because I might put it back in there. So there and there and there. So yeah, I think I'm just going to leave that one out. I got a little too crazy with it. If you do, just go in and dig it out. Okay, so this little sprig here, we're going to actually trim it. Down here next to this leaf, we're going to trim it so that we end up with this. And make it actually two pieces so that we can kind of do that with it. So let's place our leaves where we like them. Make sure we have them. We should be a little closer together, I think. Is that going to work? Yep, I think that'll work. So when you get them where you want them, get some glue dots out and just put some glue dots near the center on the back of those two bottom leaves. And twist away. Don't pull away. Twist away. Whoops, that one didn't come off. So I have one there and one there, and I'm going to just slide it in here like that. I'm going to do this one, same thing, two bottom leaves near the middle, and it's going to go kind of towards the side like that. This one I'm just going to put a glue dot behind these at the fattest part, and it's going to be going kind of this way, and then one behind this one. Remember to twist away if you can, and it's going to go kind of here in this direction here. Come on, you can do it. Well, it's already found its home, so we're just going to leave it there. So that's our leaves. Now we only have to do the artisan pearl and our bow. So we'll do our bow, and the easiest way to do a bow with this twine is to make a loop in one hand and wrap it around the back and then through the loop that you just made, like this, and tie it, and hope that the tail doesn't go through, because if it does, you can start all over again. And that one, I don't know, I don't like that. Whoops. Now I got a knot in it now. Oh goodness. Okay, we'll do that again. I didn't leave enough tail for my one. Okay, so around and then behind and through. Maybe it's good. I'll show you again, huh? That way you can see it twice. I'm just pulling the tails back through and tightening the loops. Pull the tails and tightening the loops. And I think that's about the right size. So when I get it the right size, I'm going to really pull those loops tight so it stays, and then I'm going to fluff them up a little bit. Now we're going to take 2 glue dots. One might be enough, but I like to know that it's going to stick, so, and just kind of bunch them up, pinch them off, and push them behind the big knot on the bow, and it's going to go in the corner here at a slant. And then this one doesn't look like it needs to be cut, but this one does. Okay, and then you can kind of play with your bow if you want. Make sure that glue dot is not showing. Tuck it under there a little more. So now we have our bow, so all we need now is to put our little piece of artisan pearl on there, and it's going to go up here in this corner right here. Okay, so we have our card finished, card number 2 in our Rooted in Nature Class B online class. So check out my website, www.carolbcrafts.com, if you would like to get your own card kit to make these cards along with us. Thanks for watching. Bye now.